Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Casattya. My name is Irene TTYA and I am renovating my 1930s end of terraced home with a full renovation and a single story rear back extension. New week, new episode. The nails are still looking wild, ratatata, but alas, we keep it moving. I really wanted to kind of get into it with you guys and kind of show you the journey from the beginning. And that kind of started with me saying goodbye to Brixton. I'd lived in that flat for many, many years. And, you know, it was my little spiritual homage. It was my little incubator. And I've had so many good memories, a couple of bad ones, but more good than bad. And I had a little bit of a celebration dance, end of tenancy kind of wrap up, and it was just a way for me to kind of say thank you to the energy and thank you to that house for like all the good times, all the bad times, all the memories, and then just kind of close it up and on to new chapters new. So yes, on the day I went to pick up my keys, I remember having like butterflies in my stomach because I was just kept refresh. I don't think I've refreshed my email so many times. My solicitor was rude to even call me to be like, yeah, it's gone through. Man told me he was going to email me because they were just so busy with the pandemic and everyone trying to like get their properties before stamp duty. So my solicitor was like, oh yeah, I'll email you when we've got the confirmation that you can go and pick up your keys. Bro, I could not sleep. Like I kept refreshing my email. And I think about 11 o'clock or just before 11 o'clock, I got the email to say that I could go and pick up my keys, that the money had been transferred and my sale had gone through. I just got the phone call that my keys are ready. So I'm going to the estate agent to pick up my house key. I'm so gassed, as you can probably... I'm actually quite calm, actually. I don't think I'm going to get gassed until I get the key. I've got many things sliding around in the back, so I can just hear bare noise. But I need to go to my storage unit afterwards to pick up some essentials, and then I have my house keys. Listen, yeah, the way I breezed out of that house, the way I breezed to that estate agent, yeah, no jokes. I've got a key. Imagine all of that for just this one key. Now, the seller has left the main set of keys in the house. So this is what the estate agent had. So, yeah, I'm going to stop by the storage unit, get some essentials like cleaning products, and then head to the house. So yeah, I went to get my keys. I was so excited. It was still the pandemic, so you know we're wearing masks and that. But yeah, I was so happy just getting there and picking up the keys. For those of you who don't know me, I'm West African, I'm Nigerian, and as part of my culture, I'm the fact that my mom is a prayer, like the biggest prayer warrior I think I know, to be honest. And when I first got my keys and I got my space, she came to my space to just kind of bless the new home, you know, put some anointing oils all over the place, you know, sprinkle it in the front, just to protect your home, good energy, good vibes. So yeah, I always pray with my mom. I love praying with my mom because I feel like she's if I don't do the prayer, she's doing the prayer for me and her prayer and our prayer, all the prayers.
In the name of Jesus, use this as a bank draw. I use this oil as a bloodline. Your enemy shall take this house. No man, born of a woman that will take this house for him.
From where I'm from, just kind of just blessing the home and just, you know, protecting over you and just bringing good vibes and good energy. So yeah, one of the things about moving to a whole new area, and I moved to a postcode that was miscellaneous to me. The great thing is I had a few friends in the area that live close by to me. So I was really lucky that I had kind of entry level and just those little things that you don't think about, like where you're going to get your sketch bonnet, where you're going to get your meat. Like I was in Brixton, so everything was so accessible to me. Brixton Market was literally 5 minutes from my house. I had so much access, plantain on deck, scotch bonnet on deck, yam on deck. So now I moved, I was like, chai, where do I buy my scotch bonnet? Where do I get my meat? And I found a black-owned meat shop, which is amazing. Shouts out to my friend Mel. She's the one that actually showed me about it. And that's literally like 5 minutes from my house. So, you know, the great thing is about redeveloping and learning a whole new area is you basically are everything you're absorbing. You're like a sponge. You know, you need to find a new nail shop, new waxing. So let me break it down for you. All the things that were critical for me. Yeah, meat shop, Scotch bonnet, okra, nail shop, waxing, essentials, expressions. Where do we get the expressions from now? Yeah, these were the top 6 things that I needed to know. Local settings, priorities, guys, priorities. So before I'd even bought my house, guys, I already had my architect come to the house, because in my head I was thinking, I know what I want. I know what I want to do to this space. It's for him to tell me what's feasible and what's not. So my architect's name was Ivan. So Ivan came to the house and went through everything, listened to me, listened to all my theatrics, everything that I want to take this wall out, and I want to take this wall out, and I want to do this. Ivan was just looking at me, yeah. Ivan was just looking at me because he was like, this is great and all, but these are some of the issues that you're going to run into. So anyway, long story short, I couldn't do as much. I didn't know which walls were structural walls, weren't structural walls. So in my head, I was just like, I'm ripping everything out. It's all open plan. So Ivan kind of just did reality check and said, sis, close it up. I actually applied for my planning permission before my house had completed, only because it was COVID and everything was taking so much longer. So a process that should take 4 to 5 weeks was actually taking 12 to 15 weeks. So I just thought, listen, yeah, let me just apply for this planning permission. If it goes through and the house, something happens, then at least it is what it is. It wasn't meant to be. But in my head, I knew I was getting this house. I just knew it. I knew it deep down that I was getting it. So applied for my planning permission, and my architect actually had his structural engineer that he worked with. So it made it easy. I didn't have to like go and get a look for an architect, then go and get a structural engineer. They worked in sync with each other. So I got 2 for the price of, well, not 2 for the price of 1, because it both had their own prices and I had to pay them each. But you know what I mean? Like under one umbrella, we got two double the job done. So they did all my drawings and all my calculations based on the works that I wanted to have done. And I needed those drawings and calculations to submit them to the council for my planning permission to get approved, which it did. And the thing is, when I first moved in, I was so excited because I was like, oh, okay, I finally got it. And my house had all my foundations. If you haven't watched episode 1, go back to episode 1. I talk about my criteria. You go there to see what I was looking for, but you'll be able to kind of see what my criteria was. And I was so happy because I felt like I've got such a good foundation. I can build on it. One little snag, guys, that I didn't mention in episode 1 was originally my house was on the market as a 2.5 bed because the box room was really small. So it was a 2.5 bed, and technically it was actually a 4.5 bed because they had a loft conversion, but they never had the building control certificate to say that it had passed, so that it had been built safely. So they weren't technically allowed to sell it as a 4.5 bed house. So basically the gag is, guys, that I got a reduction. I got a 4.5 bed basically for not the price of a 4.5 bed. So I was really lucky. Just before exchange, I actually made them go and get the building control certificate, and it was quite expensive. It was about, I think, £800 they had to pay to the council to get building control to come out and just verify that the loft had been built to a high standard. It was safe, basically. I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't, because I was so far gone on the process. I actually would have been finished, but to cut a long story short, it passed and they got the certificate, but we had already exchanged contracts at that point. So don't cry, don't beg. It all worked out, to be honest. So I was just really lucky, and that's how I know deep down this place was for me. I got double the space. One of my criteria was storage, because again, I felt like I needed space and I really wanted to be able to like function in a functional way without being cramped. So the great thing is that I had ample amount of space. So we're going to get into downstairs and what my ideas were and how I'm going to extend out the plan. So this is what my ground floor looked like. It's my reception room. I had a kitchen stroke dining area. It had French doors, which you can see on the video, and this is where you came in. So this was my downstairs layout, and then it had double doors that went out into the garden. My main concept for my house was I wanted a like kind of open plan functional space. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my actual extensions, and that will give me a rough idea of how much I'm going to put out. And obviously, guys, this is not to scale. This is just like really rough ways for me to be able to like mess about with the space. We're going to open this out. So all this kitchen will go. All of this will go. No more kitchen. And then what I want to do is I want to extend the hallway a little bit up so that basically that wall that you saw me divide, I'm going to just move it back a bit. So I'm going to do that new wall. There'll be a beam that goes across here. There'll be a beam that goes across, but it will still be open plan. So the house will be supported here. So I've got two beams going into my house. I've got a beam here going across, and I've got a beam here at the back to support the extension. So the hallway stops now. I've elongated my hallway. So the hallway stops where the toilet, it will be in line with the toilet. And then there'll be a door here, which goes into the new kitchen area. So there'll be a utility. So all of this will be like my new kitchen. I'm going to have an island. This will be like all cupboards. I'm going to have bifold doors here. I'm going to have storage in the kitchen here. So this is the new kitchen. And then I'm actually going to have a dining room area here. So my plan is to have some sort of divide. I haven't figured out how I'm going to divide that space yet. But this will be my dining room area and this will be my living room area. But it will be open plan as one space. So the dream was to be able to open the front door and see all the way through to my garden. That's how much light I want the house to be flooded with. This is a really good starting point for me. I would recommend it to anybody. Just here's your floor plan. Boom, boom, boom. And it was a floor plan from the estate agent from the original house. So it was just like figuring it out and manipulating it to how I want. When my architect came, he basically said that for me to have my extension put on, I was going to have to move my manhole. And your manhole is basically your viewing point or your access point to your drains, so your waste pipe that runs at the back of your house or at the side of your house. There's usually like a metal rectangle plate that you lift up and you'll be able to see down. So mine needed to be moved. Now, to do that, you have to get a thing called a Thames Water build over agreement, which is basically saying you're building over the old access point and creating a new one. And I never knew what any of this was. So to guys, I was that day years old when I found out what a build over agreement was. And there was me on the Thames Water website, like trying to figure it out. But I'm not going to lie, it was pretty straightforward. I needed to fill out a couple of forms. The only gag is that everybody is looking for what? Monies. Yeah, we've been in a pandemic. Anywhere that anybody can recoup funds, they're recouping the funds. So Thames Water charge you for a diagram that shows you the water flow for your street, which you need to be able to say which way your water flows down your street to be able to apply for your Thames Water agreement. So they make you pay for your Thames Water agreement and they make you pay for the map that shows which way the water runs down your street. So that's double payments to Thames Water. You have to fill out some forms. You have to submit the flow of your water. You've got to submit your architectural drawings. You've got to submit your structure engineer drawings. So there was a few bits of paperwork that you needed to submit with it. And then you basically get an agreement within 28 days from Thames Water to say that you're good to go with your build. So again, with an extension, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that everything takes time. It isn't like an overnight job. You can't just wake up today and be like, I'm starting to do an extension tomorrow. And there's so much research and so much back end stuff that needs to get done before, like even just planning permission. And for anyone that doesn't know, like anything over 3 meters is not a non-permitted development. So you have to actually apply to your local council to get the permits. And again, because it was in the pandemic, if it's something that should take 3 to 4 weeks was now at a minimum of 15 weeks waiting. You know, there's no number to call. Everything was automated. Everything was email us, this, that. So I remember just refreshing to see if it got approved, refreshing. And for the grace of God, it all got approved. Architect, check. Structural engineer, check. Build over agreement, check. Permission from the council, check. So we have all of these things in place. Looking for builders. Guys, the search for builders was very, 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 very mad. I can't lie to you because people were giving me, I'm available February 2023 I'm not even joking. That's how in demand. I guess pandemic, everybody's taking value in their home. Everybody's renovating. Like literally on my street, there's at least 8 other people renovating, whether they're doing their driveway, whether they're doing a new kitchen. So literally everybody is renovating. So the search for good builders was tough. And also I'm an impatient person. I learned that about myself in this whole renovation journey. I'm very, very impatient. So I wanted it and I wanted it now. But it couldn't happen now. So I had to wait a couple of months before my builders could actually start the works. But in that meantime, what I started to do was to strip out the house. So, you know, I managed to get a skip. I got an 8-yard skip at the house, and I just started stripping things out. I had this crazy wallpaper that was literally from the ground floor all the way up to the loft floor wallpaper. So I started stripping all of that out and just really trying to get it back to a blank canvas to really see what I was working with. Was I going to have to do a replaster the whole house? Like, what was I working with? And as we started to strip it out, we started to see that, you know, yes, the house is going to need a replaster. There was mad, crazy layers and layers of, they've done wallpaper on top of wallpaper on top of wallpaper on top of wallpaper. So that all needed to come out, all the flooring needed to come out. So there was a big clearance job, and what I was left with was an amazing kind of blank canvas. And then, yeah, the building work commenced. And I have to say, guys, I wasn't ready. So guys, I've just come back from my Nike shoot, and I wanted to give you guys a real insight into what's really going on here, because people see me on high life, but come and look at the life that I'm really living right now. Chaos, to be honest. Everything's everywhere. I have tiles in here. We have loads of multiple flowers. We have half of the floor removed, half of the floor still needs to be removed. The kitchen's coming out. The kitchen's gonna be coming out next week. Like, laundry's in the middle of the kitchen. Just absolute chaos. But at least my plants are still looking and feeling good. These are low sharp here, which we're gonna get changed. Yeah, so this will be my new office. You get to get #views. So you get to see all the greenery from here. So this is a vibe. Alright, it's a bit of a weird shape for me being this tall. It's not designed for tall people, this room, to be honest. But it's like a little cave, it's like a little hideout. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make this bit storage and then have this as like a spare room, but it'll be loads of light. You get loads of light in here. Look how much light you get. This tiny little box room. There was an electric shower up here, so I don't know, I'm gonna try and utilize this space the best that I can. I think the plan is to like make this bit a shower and have a pocket door open that way, and then have like some sort of like toilet, hand basin, cloakroom basin unit in here. So my renovation is actually going to take part in 2 stages. So my exterior extension is going to happen first, and then whilst they amongst that, then I'm going to completely strip out and start my interior works a little bit after. So the plan of the extension is I'm having a 5-meter single story extension. I really wanted I'm getting a pitched roof because I'm 5'11" and I wanted height. That is one thing I've realized about a 1930s height, is that it's quite low ceilings, and when your girl's in heels, it's very peak for me. Very peak. So with my extension, I really wanted a pitched roof. I wanted lots of lighting. I wanted to have lots of glass. So I'm going to go for some big Velux windows. I'm going to go for bifold doors. I just want light. I want the space to feel big and tall and high and mighty, just like me. But yeah, so that's what we're going through with the extension. And I don't know, I've been quoted 16 weeks for this extension. I'm not going to lie, I did think that was a bit long, considering other quotes that we'd got back. The maximum people were saying was like 8 to 10 weeks. But obviously trusting the process and going to go with it. So work has commenced. Started with digging out the foundations, and then from the foundations, they're able to start with the engineering bricks and building the external walls. So at the moment, there's nothing really going on the inside. So it's not as loud as I thought it was going to be, to be honest, and it's manageable, it's livable. Okay, guys, this is your girl Irene TTYA. I'm signing out. Make sure you're locked. Make sure you're subscribed to Casattya TTYA. Episode 3 loading. The saga continues. Peace. I'm joking. Yeah, but this is the that he had the last time. That's why he has to